Hello, beautiful souls. So, in this video, we are going to talk about the power of now. So, this is a book written by Eckhart Tolle, and the name of the book is Power of Now. So, now, as we are doing our shadow work, we will start practicing being in the now. Now, what being in the now means? So, being in the now is that we are not going to be in our head. We are not going to get lost in the past or in the future. We are going to be present in this very moment, right? And in the book, it is explained. You can obviously you can read that book if you want to dive in that topic. So in books, it is explained as when the thoughts or the emotions or anything is coming, we are just going to observe it and we going to let it flow, and we are not going to react to it. So we are going to be in the now, right? But let me share a story with you, okay? So when I read about it, I started practicing it, and when I was practicing it, the first time I was practicing it, I felt a sense of annihilation, right? I mean, my mind was really, really, really afraid. But then apart from that, I also recognize that when I'm doing this, I'm suppressing a part of me. And that that acknowledgement was really, not a pleasant one, because I was like, I have come to the point at that time where I was thinking like I am my own child, right? So if I'm not letting myself react to those emotions or to think about them, then I am, my child is saying something and I'm just putting a hand on their mouth and saying that you are not allowed to say that. So that was how I was feeling. So getting triggered by all these things, I thought that maybe this is not the method which is meant for me. So I stopped working with that, and then I started doing my shadow work. And when I had completed lot part of my shadow work, I realized that being in the now is important part of any practice, because what happened is that uh, let's say I'm watching a movie, right? And there is some scenario, and I'm kind of a person. I'm a dramatic person anyway. So what happened is that if I'm watching a movie, right? So even if that scenario is not related to me on any level, I would start creating that scenario in my mind. I would create that drama in my mind, and I'm like, oh, okay, this happens, and I would I would start feeling that, right? So I just recognize that sometimes we create the emotions, we create the reactions which are not even the truth of the situation, right? In that point, being in the now is really helpful, because when you are practicing being in the now, what happened is that you saw a drama and you started identifying it with it, like you are creating that emotion. But now you are going to catch it emotion like, oh, okay, I am making this drama in my head. And then that moment, you when you realize that, you will stop doing that, you will stop creating that emotion, because until we don't realize it, we will keep creating that drama, we will keep creating that scenario, and most of the time if we are free, then that thought will keep going and we will keep creating that scenario in our mind. Right? So yeah, I mean, in this way, being in the now goes hand in hand with the shadow work. So the moment we realize that, okay, I'm creating this drama, we will stop. And that's how being in the now will help us to know that there are certain emotions which we are creating which are not part of our truth. And there are certain emotions which are the part of our truth, which are part of our trauma, and analyzing them will help us to know more about ourselves. Now this is a very, interesting job, because you will have to know that, okay, these are the emotions I'm creating and these are the true emotions which I'm literally feeling. So yeah, I mean, if you don't do these things, like you don't be in your head, then this fact, I mean, you don't have to just, differentiate between these emotions, because I live in my head a lot. I create all these dramas, scenes, and I used to. So it was really, a job for me to identify that, okay, so this is the part of my emotion and this is not the part of my emotion. I'm just creating it. So yeah, I hope I am making some sense. And again, if you think that the process which is mentioned in the book Power of Now, that works for you and you don't need to do shadow work, you don't really need to. Because personally, I think that my purpose in this lifetime is to work with the emotions, because I'm not here to let life pass. I'm here to enjoy the life. I'm here to learn about those emotions. I'm about to experience all these things out here, which are different emotions, whether it's anger, jealousy, and all these things. So I'm not here to suppress any emotion, right? But maybe it's your purpose is not to go through all these emotions. Your purpose is to just find that that place where what do we call it? I don't know, but salvation maybe is on it. So yeah, maybe your purpose is to reach that salvation through being in the now and not reacting at all. But for me, as I said, it's more about processing those emotions. And again, I think that my purpose is to, like, if I'm feeling anger, right, so I will dive into that emotion and know its depth, know what are the causes, how can we work with it, and all these things. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my purpose, and that's how I approach this. And in first, being in the now was not working for me because I am trying to suppress my emotions. But then in the latter phase, I knew that how can I use it for myself, because all I have to do is differentiate between the emotions and the feelings which I am creating, and the feelings which are really the part of my truth. Now, if it feels confusing, that I really don't have any other method to explain it, because it is what it is, right? I mean, there are certain emotions which are not part of us, but still we think like they are, but they are not. So yeah, I hope I hope you get something from this video. So I'll end it here. Thank you for being here. Hope to see you in the next episode. Till then, keep exploring, keep learning, keep living. Have a wonderful life. Bye.